A lot.
Because my middle name is Solutions. And my first name is Heartspace, right? Yeah, I mean, it's all about solutions. You want solutions. You don't want to just feel better for an hour, right?
Yes, there we go. And so, Susan, what happens when we reach one of our goals?
Well, it's like shuffling a deck of cards, you know? As soon as you win one game of gin, you start again, right? If you enjoy playing cards. So once you reach one of your goals, now you cross that off or you delete that and you move the other two up and you set a new goal underneath, or listen, you can do 3 at a time. So if you have a goal that's really important, then that can become the new first goal. It's up to you. But what you will notice if you really work this, you work it every day, think about it, repeat it, do it 5 times a day, do it in the morning, do it at night, do it at lunch, whatever. If you really work this and you really focus on this, you're going to notice that there are goals you simply don't care about. And be honest with yourself and delete it. You know, there's nobody who says you have to have a lifelong relationship. There's nobody says, you know, that you have to win $1 million in the lottery. If those aren't really authentic goals for you, focus on what you do want, something that's really important to you.
I like that. That's nice. That gives us some ease. Now, what are the options to keep setting a goal and let's say you're not reaching it?
Well, I touched on that before, that the reason that we don't reach our goals, and I'm not talking about religion now. We can have a conversation privately about you and God and religion if you want to. But leaving that aside, what I know to be true, and I've seen it thousands and thousands of times, is that if you sort of kind of want it, you're not reaching it. If you are 1,000,000% focused on this outcome, if this is what makes you smile, if this is what makes you happy, if when you think about it, you see it in 3D, full color, Technicolor, right, with a soundtrack, if you're able to generate that kind of joy and enthusiasm, you reach that goal. And I've reached very, very big goals in my life, huge goals in my life. They didn't happen overnight. You know, I needed a company to move me to California. They had to pay me a lot of money. They had to give me a 6-month contract. They had to put me up in a hotel for 30 days while I found a place to live. They had to give me all these perks and all these benefits, fly me to Europe twice a year for the collections, fly me back to New York 5 times a year for the collections. I mean, it was big. I mean, it was a really, really big list. And it took me a year. And then every single thing on my list was offered to me. And the guy who was the president of the company said to me, now don't ask me for one more thing. And I didn't have to ask him for one more thing. He already said yes to everything I wanted. So it took me a while. Your goal may take a while. It has to be important enough to you that you don't give up. That's the key, and that you keep your emotional state really high.
I like that. Well, congratulations.
That was fun. Yeah, that was great. Oh, and they had to be willing to move me back to New York with all my stuff if I didn't like it out here. Yeah, so I got all of that.
You had it covered.
Yes, I really did. I really did.
Well, that's good information for somebody out there in that position right now.
You absolutely have to. It's like looking for a life partner. You can't scrimp about it. You have to ask for exactly the person that you can have as a wonderful, joyous life partner. You can't, start by compromising on something that isn't worth compromising on.
Oh, boy. Or on ourselves. I like that. Can you describe what is really best if your goal is about love and how to reach it with the greatest speed and success?
Yes, if you're serious about wanting a partner. Now, if it's a life partner, if it's a partner, doesn't matter. You're the one who's in charge. But you have to set the goal, and you make a list of 50 to 100 attributes. A minimum of 50 attributes. No kidding around. and they must all be phrased positively. So if you're looking for that perfect man in your life, that perfect male life partner, let's just say, so he is monogamous is number one. He is ready and excited to find his perfect life partner. He loves me dearly. I love him dearly. We are, whatever it is, you describe your life with him. Then you talk about his appearance in 4 or 5 points. Then you talk about his hobbies in 4 or 5 points. Then the sports that he does. Then the assets that he has, the money he earns or has. I mean everything. That's how you get to 50. And everything has to be phrased in positive language. And if you want help with this, just send me an email or give me a call or a text, and I'll send you some information about that so you can figure out how to make your list.
I like that, from A to Z.
Yeah.
Now, what about a goal that is for money and wealth?
Again, you can't be somebody who's living on unemployment, who hasn't had a job in decades, or is a young person who hasn't yet had a job, and set some huge financial number. And remember, huge financial number for you may be doable and easy for someone else, so I'm only talking about you. So you have to set a goal that has some basis in reality. Again, not magical thinking. So if you are unemployed and you had a job, then you can go for 20% more than you were earning in that job. You can go for exactly what you were earning in that job, or even less if that's acceptable and tolerable for you. But it has to be based on reality. If you're someone who is working and you're ready for a promotion and you haven't been able to motivate your boss to get a promotion, and now you're willing to consider getting another position, then don't specify who's paying you. Just that that's your career, you have a title of whatever the title is, and that you are earning X $100,000 gross per year.
Nice. I know, Susan, that you personally have set many goals about health, and could you please explain to us how you have reached them?
Well, the real key there is most people who have health issues that I've worked with, their first and foremost problem was not their health. It was that they identified with the illness or the disease. So when they thought about themselves as having this problem or a chronic problem, or that they would always have this problem. So that was a brain chemistry issue because they saw themselves in a sad and despondent and hopeless and frustrating and exhausted way, whatever that description may be. And I never did. I mean, I couldn't breathe. Asthma was so terrible. I never could breathe. I mean, for decades, I couldn't breathe without meds. And the meds had terrible side effects of making me, like, ugh. So this was really crazy. But I always held on to this reality in which I saw myself healed. I saw myself healthy. And all the people I've worked with who've had really remarkable health transformations have been able to do exactly the same thing. It makes a huge difference. And it doesn't matter what the health thing is. I remember working with a woman who had suffered from domestic violence, and she had a horrible injury to her face. And she's an incredibly beautiful woman. I mean, just so beautiful. And so she had plastic surgery, and she was in the hospital, and she had to keep imagining full healing. Constantly imagining full healing on this surgery. And she did. And she's really beautiful, fully healed.
That's very encouraging. Boy, the mind, it all starts there. How many people have big challenges with their family, and what kind of goals can they set for this?
Well, you really have to get skills for this. If you're dealing with other people, There's so much that you can do. You know, I'm a mediator. I'm a certified mediator, and I work on arrangements with people all the time. I just did a mediation for 2 women who'd owned a company together for 35 years. Total of 6 hours that included the time for me to write the agreement. We had a signed, notarized agreement. And, you know, they're still friends, and now they're not business partners anymore. So I teach people to do this all the time. You have to learn how to motivate and inspire people. And in order to do that, you have to learn how to calm yourself down before communicating in any way. And so that's where my 6-part conversation comes in. That's what you really need to learn. And it works. It's remarkable. Thank you, Fred. And there it is.
Perfectly put, isn't it? Brilliant. Now, finally, the career issues are a little bit different from the money issues. How can someone set a career resolution or goal and actually reach it?
Well, if this is something that's huge, like I've worked with clients with huge career goals. I mean, I remember working with a very, very, very famous executive producer, one of the most famous executive producers in Hollywood. This is maybe 7 years ago, and he just couldn't get a gig. He couldn't get a film. And his wife sent him to me. She was just really concerned. They had a big lifestyle. And I worked with him. And by the time we had finished, after 24 sessions, he had been offered his own production company, which was phenomenal. I mean, it was everything he could dream of. But in order for me to get him there, he was first really disgusted because he made millions of dollars per film, just for him. His take home was millions of dollars, plural. And I said to him, well, you know, if you can't make that happen right now and you love working, the only thing you really love doing is working, what if you could take a couple of short-term goals, short-term projects, whatever that might be, and, you know, if you do 3 things for $1 million each, you get $3 million versus doing one long thing for $3 million, right? So that got him thinking in a much more creative way because he was a very linear guy. So that got him thinking outside the box. And by thinking outside the box, made him feel better about himself. He then took a lot of meetings that he hadn't been taking. And in one of those meetings, he met these 2 young guys who wanted to make something big happen with him.
There you go. So there's always a solution.
There is. There's a solution to everything.
I like that.
If you use your whole brain. And if you can use your whole brain.
And just being aware of it is so helpful, so you can do it manually, correct?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And, you know, that's why I'm here. So if you don't understand what that means, Gigi was just quoting one of our earlier shows, then get in touch with me and I'll explain, because it's different for you from Gigi and from me. We each have a slightly different brain, right? So your needs for moving yourself around your brain manually may be that you have to be more of a visionary, or maybe you're very much a visionary. Then you just may have to think more about money and dollars and numbers and be much more practical and factual. Or maybe you just feel really upset and depressed and angry. Well, then you have to be vigilant with your moods. You can't allow yourself to live there for more than 4.5 minutes at a time. So I have skills to teach you. Or ultimately, maybe you do everything else great and you're just not somebody who makes lists and does everything on the list and crosses the list off and checks it and all that. And if you don't do that, you won't reach your goals. You won't reach your big goals.
Exactly. How many lists do you have, Susan?
A couple going all the time. I now put my lists and my notes on my iPhone. So then after I do my affirmations and prayers in the morning, most days I will go right to my notes and I will look at those. I'll update them if I need to. Those are my goals. And then I'll read them 5 times and really think about them. And then things start to happen.
And actually can be really fun. like a game.
Yes,
it can
it
be
can
fun
be.
if you keep that excitement going, no matter what your mood, right? Get over it.
Yes, exactly. Because, I mean, if your life isn't fun, then you've cheated yourself out of really life. Because if you're looking at all this as a problem, you're reaching your goals very slowly, if at all. And you're not even enjoying yourself. You're not even celebrating when you do reach something. A lot of people make that mistake. You know, they're so disgusted about the 2 goals they don't reach that they forget to go have a glass of champagne or jump for joy about the one they did reach.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you don't want to do that because, you know, you got to have fun.
Yeah. Keep that spirit going. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Susan.
Thank
you really are
you.
such a joy and so encouraging. And you've walked us through these, resolutions that we can accomplish to make our new year, 2017, the very best year of our lives.
Yes.
A cheerleader as well. And so for our viewers, please remember Susan does offer that 1 hour free, a complimentary hour to help you with your goals.